Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to explore whether Alex's quiet farm dinner with Tuna turns into a life-changing confession, or if fear and responsibility pull him away again. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit subscribe so you won't miss the next episodes. After finally finding Tuna and baby Henry and bringing them safely back, Alex should have felt relieved enough to just turn the car around and head straight home. But that night, as he stood in the small yard of the farm, listening to the quiet countryside and seeing the warm light spilling out from the kitchen window, his feet simply refused to move. Inside, he could hear Tuna's soft voice humming as she settled Henry down to sleep. The chaos and fear of the last few days were still echoing in his chest. But now, for the first time in a while, there was also something else there. A pull, gentle but undeniable, toward this place and these two people. Alex, if you're not in a hurry, do you want to stay for dinner? Tuna peeked her head out from the kitchen, sounding a little unsure. It's already late. On your way back, you might not find anywhere to eat anyway. He didn't even stop to pretend to think. I'll stay, he replied with a small smile. But on one condition, I get to help cook. If I just sit there waiting to eat, I'll be embarrassed. The answer made Tuna's heart skip a beat for a second. She quickly turned away so he wouldn't see the way her expression softened. In the kitchen, she rinsed rice, washed vegetables, and tried to steady her hands, while Alex rolled up his sleeves and started chopping firewood, lighting the stove, and asking silly little questions just to be close. You want to boil the chicken or fry it? Should I wash these herbs too? It was nothing special, but the sound of his voice mixing with the crackle of the fire made the small kitchen feel more like a real home than it had in a long time. Honestly, I'm not used to someone fighting me for the kitchen like this, Tuna joked lightly as she dropped ginger into the pot. Good, Alex laughed. Let me train now so later no one can say this CEO only knows how to sign contracts and doesn't know how to cook a pot of rice. If I learn all your recipes, Henry will never go hungry. Just hearing Henry's name softened them both. The baby was sleeping in the next room, worn out from all the moving around. His tiny chest rose and fell steadily, blissfully unaware of the adult's tangled worries. Oh, by the way, Alex remembered suddenly, my mom asked about you two again. She said whenever you and Henry have time, I should bring you over to the house. She misses him already. Last time she held him, she talked about him all evening. Tuna's hand paused over the cutting board. Really? She asked quietly. I was afraid I was disturbing everyone. Disturb what? Alex frowned. Since you and Henry came into our lives, my mom smiles more. The house isn't so empty. She told me clearly, if Tuna is free, tell her to bring the baby over. I want to hold him for a bit. I already promised her. So when you're ready, I'll come pick you up. Tuna just nodded, not trusting herself to speak too much. She didn't dare ask whether that kindness would last forever or disappear one day. For now, the fact that they were welcome was already more than she'd ever hoped for. When dinner was ready, they sat down at the small wooden table. The spread was simple: a pot of chicken soup, a plate of boiled meat, a small basket of freshly picked vegetables, and a pot of steaming rice. But as Alex sat opposite her, under the soft yellow light, he suddenly felt like this was the first real home meal he'd had in a very long time. No clients, no rush, no fancy dishes, no loud conversations, just two people and a child sleeping in the next room. Eat more, Tuna said, putting a piece of chicken in his bowl. You haven't eaten properly all day, have you? You know everything, don't you? He smiled, then returned the gesture, placing the best piece in her bowl. You're the one who needs to eat more. You've been through too much these days, and now you still have to take care of Henry and the farm. The farm can't run without its most important worker. She laughed softly. I'm just doing what I should. You've already helped me so much. Alex looked at her for a moment, then shook his head. That's exactly the thing I don't want to hear, he said calmly. Every time you say I owe you or you've helped me too much, it makes me feel like I'm some stranger passing by. And I don't want to be a stranger in your life. The chopsticks in Tuna's hand stopped halfway. She lowered her eyes, pretending to focus on her rice. If I don't say it, I feel ungrateful, she whispered. Everything I have right now is because of you. But I don't want you to live here feeling like you're paying back a debt, Alex replied. I brought you and Henry back not to make you feel you owe me more, but because I don't want you two wandering anywhere else ever again. Her heart started beating quicker. Alex, she said slowly, don't say things like that. My situation is complicated. I've already been married. I have a child. And in your house, there's your mother, your sister, that DNA paper. It's not just about what you want. I know, he said quietly. I know that paper is like a thorn stuck in all three of us, you, me, and Johnny. You're afraid you're a burden. I'm afraid of hurting you. Johnny's afraid of losing trust. We're all afraid of something. But if we let fear decide everything, what's left for us in the end? Tears burned at the back of her eyes. She tried to blink them away. I only came back here thinking I would work hard, repay you, then one day, quietly leave, she admitted. I never dared imagine anything more. And that's exactly why I need to say this now, Alex replied. He pushed his chair back and stood, walking into the other room for a moment. When he returned, he was holding a small bouquet of wildflowers and a little box in his hand. If I keep quiet, one day you might look back and think, if only Alex had spoken, maybe things would have been different. I don't want that regret. He set the wildflowers on the table, simple, a little uneven, clearly picked by hand from the roadside, but somehow full of sincerity. Then he opened the box, revealing a simple but elegant necklace. I know this isn't some grand gesture, Alex said with a half laugh, but it's what I can do. I was going to wait until tomorrow, after I finished checking the shipment with Mr. Adam. But honestly, I don't want to keep pushing this conversation away like I do with my work stress. Tuna stared at the flowers, then at the necklace, then at him. You're making it harder for me to say no, she murmured, voice shaking. I don't know if I should step forward or run. You don't have to step forward tonight, Alex answered gently. I'm not asking for your answer right now. All I'm asking is, don't reject me immediately. Let me have the chance to prove whether my feelings can really protect you and Henry. He lifted the necklace carefully. Can I put this on you? Not as a chain tying you down, just as a quiet reminder that from tonight onward, there is at least one man who is truly standing on your side. She didn't speak, but she didn't move away either. She bowed her head slightly. His fingers trembled just a little as he brushed her hair aside and fastened the clasp. The cool metal rested against her skin, but her chest felt strangely hot. I'll wait, Alex said softly. I've already waited this long, trying to understand my own heart. Waiting a little longer for your answer That's nothing. Outside, the wind rustled through the trees. From the bedroom, baby Henry shifted and sighed in his sleep. Two adults sat in a tiny kitchen, one wearing a new necklace, the other clutching an empty flower box, both knowing that after tonight, nothing inside their hearts would be the same again. Even if no one had said yes or no yet. When Alex drove away from the farm that night, the road ahead of him was dark, but his feelings were strangely clear. For the first time, he had said almost everything in his heart. He hadn't forced a ring onto Tuna's hand, hadn't demanded a promise, but he had laid his feelings on the table, like the simple dishes they'd shared for dinner. Now, all he could do was wait and keep showing up. The next morning, the farm was wrapped in a pale, quiet dawn. Tuna woke before the roosters. She lay still for a moment, staring at the low ceiling, listening to Henry's soft breathing beside her. His tiny hand, as always, had somehow found the edge of her shirt and kept it firmly in his fist, like he was afraid she might disappear if he let go. "Your Uncle Alex," she whispered, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "If me says yes, will you be happy? If me says no, will you hate me later?" Of course, he didn't answer. He just sighed in his sleep and turned his face toward her. She gently loosened his fingers, wrapped him in a soft blanket, and carried him to Mrs. Tang's house. The old woman was already outside, squatting by a plastic basin, rinsing vegetables in cold water. "Came early today, my little grandson," Mrs. Tang beamed, drying her hands before reaching out. "Your mother is going to conquer the world again?" "Just the dragon fruit field for now," Tuna smiled, passing Henry to her. "I need to harvest and sell them this morning. Can you help me watch him for a few hours, Grandma? I left the milk in the fridge." "Go, go." Mrs. Tang waved her off. "I'll talk his ears off. If he cries, I'll cry louder. You just work carefully and don't rush." They laughed, and for a moment, the knot in Tuna's chest loosened. She turned and walked toward the dragon fruit rows, the earth still cool under her feet. Ahead, the long lines of cacti were dipped in soft golden light, fruit glowing faintly like small lanterns. She slipped on her gloves and began to work. Twist, check, place, into the basket. Her hands did what they'd done 1,000 times before, but her mind was far away. In a small kitchen full of steam and laughter, in a moment when Alex's voice had gone quiet and serious, in the feel of a necklace being clasped gently around her neck. At the same time, in the city, Alex was standing in front of his desk, looking down at a small ring box. Beside it lay a fresh bouquet of flowers. He'd bought them early, imagining himself driving straight to the farm after work, finishing the conversation he'd started. No more half steps, no more hiding behind just helping. He slid the ring box into his shirt pocket and grabbed his keys. Before he could reach the door, his phone rang. "Alex, it's Lan," came Ms. Lan's hurried voice. "Mr. Adams' exporter truck is on the way to the collection point. They're asking for you to inspect the dragon fruit before loading. If you're not there, they might delay or cut quantity. What should we do?" He closed his eyes for half a second, then opened them again. "Tell them I'll be there," he said. "Text me the location. If Mr. Adam wants to see the orchard, I'll take him after." He hung up, looked once more at the bouquet, and put it carefully into a bucket of water. "Don't wilt yet," he muttered. "We still have something important to do." At the collection point, the scene was busy. Workers weighed baskets, recorded numbers, stacked crates. The smell of ripe dragon fruit floated in the warm air. Mr. Adams stood under a faded tarp, clipboard in hand, eyes sharp behind his glasses. "These are from your partner orchards?" he asked as Alex arrived. "Yes," Alex replied, picking up a dragon fruit and cutting it open. The flesh inside was bright, dotted with neat black seeds. He held a slice out. "Please, try it." Adam bit into it, chewed slowly, then nodded. "Sweet. Good texture. I like this. If we can keep this quality steady," Alex said carefully, "I hope we can discuss a slightly better price next time. The farmers are putting in a lot of effort to follow your standards. If they're paid fairly, they'll commit for the long term. That's good for all of us." Adam thought for a moment, then gave a small smile. "If my clients are happy with the shipment, we'll revisit the price. You send me full records, photos, tests, everything. I'll use that to push on my side." They moved between the crates, cutting into random fruits, checking color, sweetness, size. Alex answered questions, made notes, checked labels. When the truck doors finally shut and the vehicle pulled away, he felt a part of the tension in his shoulders ease. Driving back, the ring box pressed lightly against his chest with every bump. For years, his whole life had revolved around production schedules, export contracts, and machine maintenance. That niche had been safe. Numbers didn't argue. Shipments didn't ask if he was brave enough to love someone. But now, even while closing a good deal, his thoughts kept wandering back to a woman and a child on a small farm, and to a future that scared him in a completely different way. By late afternoon, the light had turned a soft orange when he pulled up at the farm gate. The smell of cooking drifted out from the kitchen. Inside, Tuna was at the stove, stirring a pot of soup. Henry lay on a mat nearby, kicking his legs and making delighted little sounds at the shadows on the wall. "You're back already?" she asked, surprised. "I thought Mr. Adam would keep you all day." "He tried." Alex smiled, stepping inside with the bouquet, "but I told him I had somewhere more important to be after." He put the flowers on the table. "For you?" She looked at the flowers, then at him, a soft confusion in her eyes. "You keep doing this," she whispered. "You're making it very hard for me to stay calm." "Good," he said quietly, "because I'm not calm either. I just hide it better." They talked while she finished cooking. He told her about the shipment, about Mr. Adams' reaction, about the possible price increase for the farmers. She listened, genuinely happy for him. But every now and then her fingers drifted to the necklace on her chest, like she was checking that it was still real. When they finally sat down to eat, Henry slept nearby, breathing in little puffs. "You know," Alex said, picking a small piece of chicken and putting it in her bowl, "all my life, I thought success meant contracts, machines running on time, numbers going up. Lately, I've started to think success might also look like this: simple food, a sleepy baby, and someone to eat with at the end of the day." "Don't say it like that," Tuna murmured. "If you choose us, you're choosing a lot of trouble too." "I know," he replied, "but I'm also choosing laughter in this kitchen, and Henry's tiny socks on my chair, and you scolding me when I forget to wash my hands before holding him. I've thought about it. I'm not confused." She didn't give him an answer that night. She didn't open the ring box he still kept close. But when he left, she walked him all the way to the gate, Henry in her arms, and said softly, "No matter what happens, thank you for thinking of me as more than just someone to help." For Alex, it was enough, for now. He drove away under the dim farm road lights, knowing one thing clearly: he had stepped forward. The next step was hers, and until she was ready, he would keep doing what he'd always done best: protect the people he cared about, build something solid, and wait with his whole heart. After finally finding Tuna and baby Henry, Alex brings them back to the farm and quietly steps deeper into their lives. He helps repair the farm, balances factory work and export contracts, and still always finds a way to return to them. One evening, in the small, warm kitchen, Alex gathers all his courage and confesses his love, giving Tuna flowers, a necklace, and a ring he's willing to wait for her to accept. Tuna is deeply touched but torn between gratitude, fear of gossip, and feeling unworthy of him. While Alex grows more certain that they are his true home, Tuna struggles to choose, keep her distance, or finally allow herself to believe she deserves this love.